In between the bones, so if we have a bone and then another bone, there's some cartilage, right? It's connective tissue. And then there's also some synovial fluid. Synovial fluid is kind of, I don't know what it's made of actually, kind of this maybe oily substance that both lubricates and nourishes the connective tissue. So it will lubricate, so it will allow movement to happen easier. Also nourishes in that it provides the nutrients for it. Now, in between the bones, are there blood cells that move in between our bones, in the joints, to provide nutrients? Is in the synovial, in this joint, is there blood flow? There's not. There's not. There's a synovial sac, just real quick, synovial sac that kind of like imagine a piece of tape wrapped around, and then inside there is synovial fluid. And we can't have a blood cell flow in between. Like what if we had well, you can think about, what if you just like pinch yourself, right? And then you can see a little bruise happening. It doesn't take much to break a blood cell at all. You can just pinch yourself and then you get a little bruise. So imagine if we had blood cells in our knee joint and we were to go for a walk, right? Bam, 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 bam. It would totally crush the blood cells, like so fast. So the body, I guess, needed to design a different system. We can't have blood cells in between the joints because they're not strong enough. What are we going to do? Well, it came up with this synovial fluid, and synovial fluid's great. It lubricates and nourishes, but the joints are kind of a weak spot in the body in that they heal a lot more slowly. Something's part of the blood flow, like in the circulatory system. Like if you cut yourself, how fast does it start to heal? Immediately. Actually immediately, right? Even before you're done, it's already starting to heal. It's like so fast. And then, so a little cut, yeah, it's like, it starts to heal right away, but then after a day or after 5 minutes, it's sealed itself, so it's not bleeding anymore. And then a day is like maybe 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, 5 days, it's going to be totally healed. And then after a week or two, you wouldn't even see it. It's like totally there. So this is what happens when you're part of the blood flow. It's like the body can heal itself so fast. Same thing, you break a bone, right? You break a whole bone. How long does it take to heal a bone?
6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah, 6 weeks, right? You have a cast on for 6 weeks and then it's healed. It's like so fast, actually, in my mind. Like you can break a bone, pretty big. It's bigger than just a cut. You can break a whole bone and 6 weeks later it's healed. It's because there's blood flow all around the bones. So the body can just send all its resources there to repair the bone. It's not the case with a connective tissue at our joints. So what happens when you twist an ankle, right? Or if some cartilage starts to get a little bit worn, or and maybe in your spine, right? It's like in your knee, right? Torn meniscus, or anything of these injuries that we have that is connective tissue. It's not part of the blood flow.
It's horrible.
It's horrible. And how long does it take to heal?
Months.
Months, years, decades,
yeah.
Right?
And then surgery after surgery.
Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of people, you know somebody who's always had weak ankles and they're always twisting their ankles, right? It's because it never really gets healed. And then that's why, a lot of the challenges with people have with their knees, it's just because the body's having a hard time healing itself. Now it can heal, but it's a lot slower. Connective tissue can heal. I mean, the connective tissue grew, right? It grew, so it can heal. But it's just more slower. So one thing that helps it heal, if we're thinking about not necessarily like healing something that's really damaged, although it would be the same process, but it's maybe a little bit harder to imagine. But let's imagine that every time we move, or there's a little bit of wear and tear on the joints every day, just a little wear and tear. And if the body can maintain that wear and tear, it's just like cleaning your house, right? If you clean it every day, it's like so easy to do. If you wait till the end of the day, I mean, depending if you have kids, right? Yeah. If you clean it every hour, it's so easy, right? But if you wait till the end of the day, it's a nightmare. If you, the point is, if you do regular maintenance on it, it's a lot easier than if you wait. So what we want to do is, with our joints, do regular maintenance every day and provide some healing ability for the joints. And the way that happens is, so we have synovial fluid in the synovial sac, and it's just sitting there. It's passive. It doesn't move. It's not part of the circulatory system. It doesn't have a heart to pump it around. It just sits there. The only way that it moves is if we move the joint. And you can imagine, if the joint's moving, bending, it's going to squeeze and move move everything around. Just like if you're trying to clean out a tin can, right? You just have some, tomato paste or beans, black beans in there, right? You just put water in there and let it clean itself? Or do you shake it around? So that's what we need to do with our joints. We need to provide that shaking action, and then the synovial fluid can catch some nutrients at the edge of the synovial sac from the bloodstream, and it will be transferred in passively by the movement. And so kind of the healing power of the synovial fluid will increase as it moves all around. Otherwise, just the part where it touches the blood flow would be nutrient dense. I mean, it's of course much more complicated. I don't even understand it. But I think it's kind of just think about, if we have blood flow to the edge, the more of this synovial fluid that we can get to the edge, the more of that nutrients it would get. And then if we move it all around, it's going to bring that nutrients to where it can go, and to where we can repair this connective tissue. So we need to move the joints. Point is, we need to move the joints in order for that to happen. And as we're doing the twists, it's a great opportunity to move all the joints of the spine. So we're going to twist one direction, we twist the other direction. Just like the warm-ups we do, right? We're going to go the spinal movements in all the directions. Right, left, twist, and forward and back. So we're moving the joints of the spine. But twist is something often that we don't necessarily do naturally in our day. Like our arms naturally do this, in the day, and our hands do this. So these joints are just naturally moving. The spine doesn't necessarily get that natural movement every day. So it's good to consciously do it every day, even just for a moment, just to move it, right? Move it in there. I mean, it's going to be great to hold it, because then we're going to be stretching and strengthening some muscles, and kind of increasing the overall health. But we can, just moving the joints is so good. So we need to do twists all the time. Like people, as they get older, if they don't move, what happens? The joints almost fuse, right? So they can lose all the movement, and it becomes a non-moving joint, right? And that's not going to be healthy at all. So it's like this balance. We want to be nice and mobile in the joints. We don't want to be super mobile, but we need to be, in general, more mobility is better for the joints. And we need to move it. We need to move them, and the fingers and the toes and the everywhere. And the more you move, the more you'll get better at moving as well. So we got to do twists every day.